Hello and good evening. My name is Ritvik Raje and this is MyCast. Welcome back to another episode filled with insights from the world of marketing. Today we have with us a representative of the kingpin of the personal computer market, the pioneer of many technological marvels, owner of tech giant Motorola mobile phones, and the company which brought looks to Thinkpad. And while you think about the company, let me introduce you to the CMO of the APAC business of Lenovo, Mr. Bhaskar Choudhuri. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel at MICA?
Very, very good. I'm coming back to the campus after almost 17 and a half years.
Wow.
So that is, the campus has also changed significantly.
So what kind of significant changes do you see?
This room, for instance, I don't think you guys had a broadcasting session. I believe you guys have got a radio station of your own. That's very interesting, called MICA Vani.
Yes.
Yeah. And the sort of things that you are, so I met with some of the professors
Sure.
before coming here.
Sure.
And I believe you are one of the pioneers in terms of offering a course in digital marketing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that again is quite
So
interesting.
actually media in all itself, management of media is very specific and very core to MICA. So that was one of the vision that our founders had in mind to make it a pioneer in the field of digital media as well as media in whole. So welcome Bhaskar back to MICA, and I hope you have a better time this time. So let's dive into the questions and let's understand the tech world. Let's understand the world of Lenovo a little better. So first of all, I'd like to set precedence to this discussion and understand how has marketing evolved for tech.
How has marketing evolved for tech from when?
So in your journey at Lenovo or even before that, so how did you see evolution of marketing?
So one way to look at the evolution of marketing in tech is while you would find that most of consumer packaged goods or FMCG brands actually leading marketing for a very long time, and for a very good reason, because in most of those organizations, even today, marketeers are the one who went on to take on the business roles. And you would often find that the head of the company would be a marketeer who would have done the role there. So therefore, marketing acting as the headlights of an organization was predominantly the case, especially in CPG, consumer packaged goods, or to an extent even durable companies. In tech, what we find, however, in the last 10 to 15 years, and again with the advent of internet and digital technology, if not just media, is that technology brands seem to be leapfrogging in terms of how marketing can be done.
Sure.
And one of the most simplest ways that I can say is that even for most CPG brands, even today, despite e-commerce, digital and to an extent even social is a good to do, if not a nice to do. For most technology brands, often those who just operate or who live on the internet, technology is a must do, and social digital is a must do, because there is no other way of going about it. So when you look at advances in marketing technology or martech and media tech, I think technology brands have had to take on the leadership role, and that's something that you see across the ecosystem when you look at worldwide. And even when you, for example, go to more established award shows, whether you look at Cannes now, whether you look at IPA now, you would find a fair smattering of technology brands actually making their entry and their presence felt.
Wow, that's actually a very good point and very important perspective of looking at it, that technology brands and advertising for technology brands is actually moving into such amazing territory that it's actually being nominated for Cannes as well. So that is actually interesting. So Lenovo itself has been trying to venture into the mobile phones market for a long period of time now. So it acquired Motorola, and with the the fourth, fifth, and sixth generation phones, they were amazing and they took over the market like crazy because they were mid-range and they had a lot of features, and that's I think something that brought a lot of companies to India like Oppo, Vivo, and even Xiaomi to a large extent. So now that there is a huge flood of mobile phone companies in the market, do you think Lenovo's strategy will change again, Motorola, or independently as well?
It is already changing in terms of whether we want to operate with a dual brand or a single brand in the market. So that's something that we consider quite actively, because at one point in time when Motorola entered, incidentally Lenovo as a mobile phone brand was also quite strong.
Yes,
And
agreed. The
so
case
jointly
is-
we had almost 8 to 9% of the market.
Okay.
There has been a reevaluation of our strategy with a bit more of focus on profitability, and that's why globally Motorola had chosen to operate or selectively focus on certain markets, predominantly Western Europe, the North America, Latin America, where Motorola actually has a fairly strong leadership position,
Wow. Okay.
and India.
Okay.
What in line with the strategy, and since in technology your product is the brand,
True.
I don't know if you're aware of the most recent innovation that we launched on Moto, which is to go back to that iconic Moto Razr, which is which many people feel was one of the most iconic offerings in the mobile phone market, and we tried to bring about a foldable device
Okay.
in the avatar of a Moto Razr. So along with this product pivot that we are doing, you will certainly see renewed efforts behind the Moto brand, certainly in this market.
Sure. So, do you feel that Lenovo needs to come up with an independent brand for mobile phones as well, or just focusing on
Independent brands other than Lenovo and Moto, I don't think
no,
so.
just Lenovo? So, should it focus on Lenovo's mobile phones, or should it focus more on Motorola?
There are roles in the portfolio for both.
Okay,
Motorola, we have, not many people are aware, but is the oldest
definitely.
and the founder of the mobile
Excellent.
phone technology. So it is, in that sense, it certainly has a legacy say.
Definitely.
Even the wealth of patents and the R&D specialization that Motorola has certainly gives it a pride of place in operating in certain parts of the pricing portfolio. Lenovo similarly has, we think, can have a role to play. So we will need to watch the space and see how that comes out.
So coming back to the tech part of it, and you mentioned a lot about how Motorola has been pioneer in the mobile tech. So Bhaskar, do you see that the coming generations or the present generation specifically has not seen any invention per se? It has just seen discoveries and enhancement of the tech that we have already had. So hardly there's anything fresh, ultimately completely new that has come to the market. So they're mostly branched thoughts. So
Cutting you short.
Sure.
Watch the space and watch when the Moto Razr comes to the market.
Okay.
I think would agree that some amount of time, or for a long time, most brands have done incremental advancements in terms of innovation. But I think we are on the cusp of seeing something which is discriminated.
Interesting. So my question what was coming to, is it more about marketing it right rather than, so taking the fact that Razer is actually going to be a very different kind of a mobile phone than the rest of the market, but right now since there is so much flooding of the same specification, same mobile phone, is it more about marketing it right rather than making it right?
In technology, I think the quotient of making it right will always be very high. So versus other category of goods, and again I reference back to whether it's consumer packaged goods, etc. When you strip it down to its bare elements, you will possibly find differentiation at a product level, which is relatively minimal.
Sure.
Whereas in technology, it will have to be significant unless if you, as a brand, you're charging a premium. So whether it is design, whether it is performance, and whether it's quality and service reputation, these will be your predominant metrics of consumer choice. And all of these go back to the point about making it right and not just marketing it right.
Sure.
Because in technology, the brand is what you're using. The brand is the product, and the product is what you're using. And if there is dissatisfaction which comes in, no amount of marketing is going to cover it up.
Okay. So that is an interesting point that you raised. That is, making it right will always take precedence over marketing it right.
The other reason for that is, as opposed to, again, the categories that we spoke about, the average ticket price of a technology product is significant. So it is always, more often than not, it is a considered purchase. It's not something that you buy on a whim.
High involvement product.
And therefore, your experience is something, because it's not something that you're going to be buying with a fair amount of frequency.
Agreed.
So your experience with it is something that sticks to your head.
Agreed.
And something that you're extremely finicky about. So if there are ways or if there are areas where the brand has come up short,
Sure.
you're not in a particularly forgiving mood as a consumer.
Agreed. So actually, specifically with laptops and mobile phones, with the life decreasing with every generation of any technological system, whether it's a personal computer or a mobile phone, we see Lenovo coming up actually with the acquisition of Thinkpad specifically from IBM. There is a huge array of products that Lenovo has in the laptop section specifically, with the IdeaPad, the Yoga tablet, and the Legion series and everything else. So do you see with the kind of assortment that you have right now with Lenovo, do you see a sustainable business model for the next 5 to 10 years, or do you see some groundbreaking innovation other than the Moto Razr?
If there is to be groundbreaking innovation, if you're asking from a marketing point of view, do I see the role of another brand? Frankly speaking, I don't.
Okay.
So, which doesn't mean that innovation wouldn't happen. So, for example, while I was talking about the Moto Razr, I think just a couple of weeks back I was in Vegas, and Vegas at that time is hosts the Consumer Electronics Show, which becomes a showcase, probably the biggest showcase of technology annually. And where again we were fortunate enough to launch two groundbreaking products. One was offerings on yoga, which already we were the first ones to offer 5G. More importantly and more interestingly, I think in my memory, probably the most awarded product for a long time is what we offered on Thinkpad, which was the foldable Thinkpad.
Yes.
So Thinkpad X1 Fold.
Yes.
So that again shows you that even if there is radical innovation, I think the brands that we have in play have the elbow room to absorb that innovation within their
Agreed. So
branding arc.
So specifically, sir, we see that there's a huge esports boom in India as well. And with the Legion series, Lenovo ranks in the top 3 laptops for gaming specifically. So do you think that you will have to, at certain point in time later on in India specifically, will you have to optimize your marketing towards a little more gaming specific, because they are huge ticket price items, and with esports gaining so much momentum, you might have a huge market later on. So do you see yourself a little bit moving away from the main picture a little down the line?
If the market grows, there is no need to move away from the main picture, right? If the market is growing, then you will have the wherewithal to not only do that, do this, but also do that.
Sure.
If you, however, find that the market is stagnant and this is eating into another, then you might have the question or the problem of where do you deploy your resources. But if the market is growing, which indeed is the case, and gaming certain years have grown at almost 3 digits,
exactly,
if not in very, very healthy double digits, you certainly will have the wherewithal to deploy independent resourcing to make that part of the market grow. As a brand, we stand for avid gamers with the Legion brand. And one thing which differentiates us from most other brands in the market is, I don't know how many of you are aware, but Legion as a brand was formed grounds up with the association of 700 gamers. So they were fundamentally associated with the product design from day one. And that's a bit different from most of the other legacy gaming brands. And that comes up in our design or even our proposition or tagline, where we say that it's savage on the inside and stylish on the outside. Because it looks very, very different from a conventional gaming laptop. And that's coming from the inside. That more and more gamers, or who is boosting this gaming category or subcategory growth, are actually people who might be having day professions or maybe students like you. But once you go back to your hostel room, you almost transform yourself into a gaming character. And you game for the next 7-8 hours. So it's not a either or. That whole how do you say, stereotype or typecast of a gamer wearing a hoodie, maybe leading an unhealthy lifestyle, bunched over his computer in a dark dungeon-like room is gone.
Sure.
Gamers are people like you and me.
Agreed. Definitely. So that's actually very good point, and I think gamers would be very appreciative of the fact that leading tech companies like Lenovo are thinking like this. That not so with the availability of gaming, and especially on our mobile phones, with Call of Duty coming on mobile phones, PUBG coming on mobile phones.
Correct.
People like myself who have left gaming back in the 10th standard or the 11th standard are coming back, and actually I'm actually enticed to now try, say, Alien 3 or Alien vs Predators, or the new games that are coming up, Halo.
Correct.
So I'm really excited to looking forward to that side, and really well put that gamers are not stereotyped anymore. They're people like me and
That's the broad basing of gaming that
yeah,
we see
exactly.
happening.
So now coming back to your personal life a little bit and professional life as well. Professional mostly. So, Bhaskar, you have had a career switch from Cadbury to Lenovo,
Correct.
FMCG to tech. So, what are the different learnings that you took forward from Cadbury to tech, which you could apply, and what are your generic or specific suggestions for people who are like me, who are just going to join the industry and might switch later on to a different industry? How do you go about it?
I think even now I believe that if you were to get into the fundamentals of marketing, most CPG companies give you that grounding
Sure.
that very few other companies give, especially if you're a marketeer.
Sure.
So whether it is the rigor in terms of understanding and understanding the subject very well, whether it is the rigor of how do you frame a campaign, the amount of time it takes to frame a campaign, which in most CPG companies can extend anywhere between 12 to 18 months. The absolute amount of discipline which gets into consumer research, into insighting, those are invaluable experiences and skills that my initial years in the career have given me, which actually holds me in good stead when I come here, because technology on the other hand often can be moving from a extreme rigor to a bit more of fail fast sort of scenario. Because here in FMCG, I often chat with my friends who are still in FMCG that if you had a bad campaign, your colleagues or the company wouldn't let you forget it in a double quick time.
Definitely.
Yeah. But in technology, you don't have the time to sit and lick in your wounds with the rate of product launches. So your ability to learn from failure on the fly while you hopefully not, but while you continue making failure is tremendous. So the speed, your learning agility is has to be extremely high for you to work here. And what it really helps is if you have got a classical rigor, or if you have the rigor of the discipline behind you, I think it gives you a bit of an edge.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. And I hope Micans and Mican alums and whoever is listening, they got a lot out of this podcast. And I hope you keep listening to MyCast. We have amazing episodes lined up for you. That will be all for today. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for your so very well researched questions.
Amazing.
It
Thank
was
you
a
so
pleasure.
much. Please keep coming back. Thank you.